This is the 8th group discussion in Malibu with J. Krishnamurti, January the 5th, 1969.
Shall we go on where we left off yesterday? We're talking about discipline. Whether it's imposed by circumstances, by society, or imposed upon ourselves, by our own will. And especially in a permissive society in which we live, where everything is allowed, practically, it becomes rather important to find out whether there can be a discipline, an act of learning, not merely controlled subjugation, without all the conflict, travail, the various forms of subtle and gross suppression and control. That's what we were discussing yesterday. Please, this is a discussion, not a talk by me. So we'll have to share in each one of us in this, not merely 2 or 3 people hold forth and the rest keep quiet. So one is faced with this problem. There are these 2 extremes of discipline, or not discipline. The discipline of the monk, the extreme form of it, and the other is laissez-aller, do what you want. Or there's a middle way, which is combine both. That's what we, more or less, intelligent people are trying to do. Not go to the extremes one way or the other. But we are trying to find out neither the extremes nor the middle course, but something totally outside that pattern or that way of thinking altogether. Right? Whether it is possible for a mind that's so heavily conditioned by tradition, by custom, by various forms of social and religious sanctions, whether such a mind can discipline itself in freedom without the act of will. Will implies contradiction. I will and I will not, right? I want and I won't. It will be and it won't be. And we have used will as a means of achievement, right? A way of proceeding, carving out a way of life for ourselves, both as individual human beings and collectively. This is factual. These are not, anybody can observe this without going very deeply into all that, reading about it. And we said also yesterday that discipline means, in actually the root meaning of that word is to learn, not to conform, not to obey, not to suppress, control, and all that, to learn. And can we learn in freedom? I don't know. Or learning is only possible in freedom. Suppose one has a problem of, not a problem, there is the fact of envy, which we all know fairly well. Envy being comparison, measurement, what we are and what we should be, and the whole implications of competitive way of life, this comparative value all the time. One is envious. Whether that envy is the result of society in which we live or it is the result of our own making, that's irrelevant for the moment. So we are envious. Now, how is one to learn from it, to learn all about it totally, in freedom? Is there any possibility of learning without freedom? I don't know if I mean, we're exploring together, please. I'm not. Let's go into it, shall we? A little bit.
Well, obviously, it would seem you can't learn unless you're free, because if you don't have freedom, then you're bound to something.
Then we are never learning, are we? Actually, that's a theory.
We're accumulating.
We are accumulating. All that we know is not learning, but a process of accumulating, which we call knowledge. I learn in order to acquire knowledge, and from that knowledge, act. Right? That is the way of our action. It is not learning in the very act of doing. And I think there is a difference between the two. Accumulation implies experience from which you learn various lessons, quote lessons, and those lessons are remembered as memory, which are ideas, and from those ideas we act, or according to those ideas we act. Right? So there is a division between action and idea, right?
The idea always precedes the action, too.
Action precedes the action. That is, I have learned that fire burns The idea is well established, and then I won't go near it. So I have an idea that envy is permissible in a society where the whole structure is based on envy acquisition and on all the rest of it, and I conform to that pattern. And when I recognize what are the implications of envy, am I capable of actually being free to learn about it? Am I making myself clear?
Yeah.
So, what place is experience in learning? Is this becoming too difficult or too complicated? Huh? All right, so let's go on. What place is experience in learning? Please, this we must be very clear, because from this we're going to discover a lot of other things.
It can't have any place.
No, sir, don't assert anything at any time. Please, sir, just listen. Don't assert, come to a conclusion at any time, because we're learning.
But we said in two cases, well, at least in one case yesterday, we said it has a experience, can be used in technology to learn. And it seems, I don't know what you call it, but it seems if you say in the past we see that a way we have been going, a whole series of events was wrong. So by seeing that, it seems like we're seeing that through experience or through memory or something. We realize that it wasn't true, that our actions were not, that there was a conflict.
Sir, look at it, sir. The whole structure of the brain is based on experience. Right? The very brain cells, I mean, I am not an anthropologist or a scientist. I don't read books, thank God. One can observe oneself all this for oneself. The whole brain matter structure is based on experience and retention of the knowledge of those experiences, obviously. On that basis we survive. Otherwise we couldn't survive, right? So, my problem is the whole structure of my way of living, thinking, feeling is based on experience, on knowledge from which, and memory from which I act, right? And in that activity, there is no freedom. I can add more or take away less and keep so-called evolving. That is, always expanding the prison, right? Decorating the walls of the prison, having better bathrooms, more cars, whatever it is, right? And I say to myself, by Jove, I see this fact that as long as there is any action of self-improvement, of self-abnegation in this, there is always, it's always a prison. It doesn't matter whether it's 1,000 miles or just a mile. It is still a prison. So there is no freedom there, right? So what am I to do? How am I to learn? Learning being in the very doing I'm learning. Not having learned, apply what I have learned to act, to action. I don't know. Are we together in this? So what am I to do? How am I, how is the brain, how is the mind so heavily conditioned by knowledge, by experience, to be free to learn anew about the whole thing. I don't know if my question is clear. Because man has lived apparently for 10 million years or so. And he is repeating the same pattern over and over and over again. There is slight variation and modification, but it's always in the same pattern. Suffering, agony, struggle, conflict, all that is in that. And to learn about it, there must be freedom to look. It's only by looking I can learn, right?
We've said that when something happens, there's no getting away from the fact that our brain is going to react to what has happened with all this past experiencing. So the only possible thing you can do is slow down that reaction, so that when the thing happens, you have this brief moment of
But how am I how is it to be slowed down? See, what are the problems? Huh?
That's controlling.
Which is, again, the same pattern being repeated in a slightly different way, which is not again freedom. Knowing we act with the old brain, the old brain being knowledge, experience, memory, so heavily conditioned. How is that brain to be slowed down so that there can be a freedom for a new quality of mind coming to be? I don't know if I'm trying to put it differently.
It's the same thing as you said yesterday when the idea of when someone calls you a fool without immediately reacting.
Yes.
Isn't this the...
I don't know what I said, sir. Yes, let's forget yesterday. See, it's much better to forget. Learn, sir. That's what you fall. Otherwise, you merely repeat what has been said yesterday.
Krishnaji, you brought up something yesterday that I think fits in here that I wish we could attack at some time today, and that is this interval between seeing something or right after seeing something. You said that then one goes back. In other words, the conditioning then operates, but the interval between in some way changes it. And I wish some way in the discussion could get to that clarity.
Are we making this unnecessarily difficult? My question is freedom within the prison or freedom outside it? The communists say there is freedom within only. I don't know if you discuss with the communists at all. In America, they're scary about it. But in Europe and so on, in India, there's a great there they not insist. Theoretically, they said there is freedom only here, inside. It's like a prisoner at St. Quentin saying, I'm free. There's no meaning.
We in America are also conditioned by, say, the material things. That
Yes, sir. Yes.
By acquiring more and more, you become free. And we're
I
taught to
know.
believe that. You have a bigger house, you have a bigger car, you make more money, now you're free to do what you want. You're a free man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what's said, but then obviously you look around, you find that they're
I know, but we
We're not-
back another answer, which is the dilemma we're in right now, I think, is a result of our conditioning. Just like the communists, we've been taught through religion and through constant bombardment, like 100 times a day, through advertisements, do this, do this, do this. And so we don't even think about it. It's just ingrained very deep in
Ingrained,
us.
quite.
So it's very hard for us to understand what it's even like to be outside the prison.
So what are we asking? I see the highest form of discipline is necessary. Which discipline being order in one's life. We'll go into that a little bit, what is implied order, all that. And that quality of a mind that is highly disciplined is a sensitive mind. Otherwise it can't be disciplined. I mean, a dull mind can only be in this, suppressed and all the rest of it. And we said discipline can only come into being when there is the act of learning, not through act of will, right? I can learn more and more and more about the prison, but yet remain in the prison. I say that is not freedom at all. Freedom is to learn about this whole thing as though for the first time and be outside it. I don't know if I'm... If I can learn completely about this whole way of living, this whole life, which is me, learn about it. Not adjust itself to a certain pattern or ideas, conclusion. Learn about it. And to learn, there must be freedom. I don't know. So I'm caught in this trap. I don't know if you're... Are we proceeding? Right. So where are we?
Caught in the trap. It seems like we're ahead of ourselves. If you're talking about learning about this trap with the free mind.
Now, all right, sir. Can I learn about this trap? Learn.
Yeah, as you described learning.
Can I learn about it? Learning being not accumulation, right? I don't know if that...
Would it be
Well,
true to
that's-
say that if I could learn about this trap, in the sense we're talking about learning, I wouldn't be in it? Because I'm in the trap.
Yes, sir, you're going to find out something. Go slow.
Because I'm in the trap, because I have always acted according to preconceived ideas.
That's right.
Therefore, the only way I could get out of the trap, it seems to me, would be if I could learn to act without preconceived ideas.
How are we going to do it?
I don't know.
I mean, don't say I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Proceed, sir. Go on. I don't want to talk all the time. Let's find out.
What seemed like what he was saying just a bit before was that what you don't learn how to learn, you learn.
Yes.
And
What are the...
we're looking to
wait,
how
wait,
to learn.
find out. What are the qualities or what are the qualities necessary to learn? Don't answer quickly. What is the state of the mind that is necessary to learn?
If we say that it's a state where we're free of preconceived ideas
Sir, look, don't answer me yet. Huh? What is the state of the mind that learns?
Empty. Because if it's full,
Yes.
it couldn't learn.
Yes, sir. Go on. But let's pursue it. And then what? Empty.
And empty implies, doesn't it, not only that there is space in it, but that there is, it doesn't already have a set way of receiving things, of receiving information, so that it doesn't immediately digest something as an idea.
Yes. That means what, sir?
Must there not also be desire to learn?
Go on.
Desire to learn.
No. What? No. Please find the state of the mind that says, I want to learning. Not I want to learn. Learning.
It's one that's listening intently, and not listening with just the ears.
Go on, sir. Find out.
Isn't it exactly?
He said, empty.
But there's...
I'll go into it, sir. Don't find out what he means. Learn. He said it must be empty. It must be curious. Go find out. It must be very sensitive. Otherwise you can't learn. Right? No, wait, go, don't add. Go see, so if you take one thing, everything will be included in it. Like that. He said just now, the mind must be empty to learn. Mind to be empty, what's implied to be empty?
That's a boundary.
Beg pardon, sir?
Wouldn't it have a boundary if it's empty?
Boundary?
But I want to know is how you direct it if it's empty. Direct it to learn.
Come on.
I've seen the process when we were viewing that flower, and at the point when we gave up the notion of thinking about flower, free from the thoughts, and the state you're talking about existed. Therefore, I see it as simply using that same thing when we're viewing these other notions, such as envy and what have you. If we use that type of intelligence in viewing our thoughts, it strikes me that would be the case.
No, sir. You look at it now. I want to find out the mind that learns.
Seems to me you're sort of asking us to experience learning now.
Yes, sir, that's what we are doing, of course.
Learning is supposed to be.
That's what we are doing. Not go home and learn. Here we are learning.
Isn't it a state in which memory is inactive and yet available if
When it's needed. I want to learn about the latest Ferrari. You know what the latest Ferrari is? Right. It's a car. To learn, there must be a great deal of sensitive curiosity, right? Which means the mind must look at it very, very attentively. to look, to listen, to see very attentively about the thing I'm going to learn, right? What takes place when the mind looks attentively about that which it is going to learn?
The past doesn't.
Listen to what he just now. You.
I listened. I heard.
What happened to you? It said still. Was your mind still?
No.
No. So I found several things. A mind that is capable of learning, such a mind is attentive, not only visually, but sensorily through ear. And in that state of attention, all absence of any other activity is quiet. Therefore it is silence. It's only a silent mind that can learn, right, sir? Right? Right?
We have to go into it. If we conclude it's only a silent mind that learns, then we're back in
We're not concluding a thing. I see. No, you see what you have done? You've reduced it an idea and say, well, I've got it. We're not. We're only looking at the fact and not at the idea, the speculative conclusion. I say to myself, to learn, I see this. Actually, what takes place is the mind being sensitive to learn, becomes attentive, naturally, without forcing it. Then attention implies also a state of quietness, silent, active but silent. Now, is that what is taking place in my brain, in my mind? Or is it just an idea which I am going to practice in order to, right? So that's it. Is that actually taking place in me whereas I'm learning? About the tree, about my wife, about my children, about my neighbor, about Nixon, about doesn't matter, whoever it is, or whatever it is.
If you say you're learning, then you're thinking about...
No, wait. I said, listen, sir, I said, this is the necessary state to learn. I didn't say what I'm going to learn. This is the requirement, right? This is the natural thing in order to learn, right?
Seems to me there must be some sort of motivation, though, because, like, if I want to know how to get to the moon,
Wait, sir. See what takes place if you have a motive. What has happened? I want to get to the moon. To get to the moon, I must have technological knowledge, right?
Yes, but I also must have some reason.
To get there, I want to investigate what the moon is made of, cheese or American cheese.
But
I must learn.
The reason I wouldn't be willing to spend billions of dollars.
Wait, that's why I want to learn in order to expand my knowledge about the world, the universe, and so on. Huh?
Is that a motive or just curiosity?
I wonder, all right, what do we mean by motive?
What's going to make me decide to spend my time learning about a flower or learning about the moon? I mean, how do you get priority?
No, sir, wait. It's important to learn about the moon or about the universe, the flower, some things outside me. And also it's very important to learn about myself. Right? Perhaps it's much more important to learn about myself than go to the moon.
We were going to go into motivation.
I'm doing it. We're doing it.
Well, I was thinking there seems to be a split too. In motivation, there's a split.
What is a motive? What do I look? You say there must be a motive. I'm saying, why should you have a motive?
I didn't say there must be a motive.
He says so. I said, why should you have a motive to live?
A motive implies to me you have a goal or a place you want to get to. And then you sort of
Yes.
lay out a plan to get
Yes,
there. Which
that's
means
right.
There's no.
I want to get to the moon, and you'll do all the business of it.
You can't look at yourself that way at all. You can't.
Can you look
that way.
at that? Just it. Can you look at yourself with a motive?
That's within the system.
And don't go into. Can you look at yourself with a motive?
With a motive?
Huh?
With a motive?
With a motive. If you have a motive, can you look at yourself?
No, because you already have a preconceived idea.
If I have a motive, am I free? It's like a dog being tethered to a post. The radius of the movement of the dog is according to the leash, length of the leash. The motive may be the leash. Obviously it is. Therefore
Isn't there a motive implied in this discussion though when we talk about living a better kind of life?
I don't want to live a better kind of life. The better is the enemy of the good. I don't want to live a better life. And you see this, I want...
So if one is lost, either physically or in the sense we're discussing here, isn't that an inescapable motive? We may not say, I wish to get out in such and such a way, I wish to find my way to a particular goal. But nevertheless, one is in a state of confusion or being lost, from which one is in.
No, madam. No, madam. Look, madam, this is the point. I live in a world where I act and live in a prison. That's a fact. There's no motive in it. The motive has brought me to this horror. Right? This is what I live in. And I look at it and I say, without motive, because I see what it is, and I say, is there a way of living outside that? There is no motive in that.
But if that were not something unpleasant, one would ask the question.
I am asking it because I see that way of living is the greatest stupid way of living.
So that's a motive though.
No, it's not a motive. I see a snake, a butterfly. To look, there's no motive. It's only when I said, Sahara, I like to have that in my garden, or I don't like this. There's a motive.
You just described it in terms of something disagreeable. You just said, one asks because one sees that is no way to live.
I wonder what you mean by, let's begin. What do you mean by motive?
Is it having a
And
purpose?
see the meaning of the word. First, motive obviously means motion towards something, right?
It implies future to be.
Motive, no, not implicate. The word itself, the meaning of that word. Motif. I mean, the Latin. The movement towards something. Isn't it? In English, the root of that meaning is obviously moving from here to there, the motive power, the drive towards that. Right? The drive is towards freedom. Is there a motive to be free, or you see the prison, and that very perception frees you from all motives to be free? I don't know. What is my motive to be free? Have I a motive? Have you a motive to be free? If you have a motive, can you be free?
The very fact that you have a motive means that you're not free.
I don't know, sir. Go into yourself and find out.
Seems to me if you have a motive, then that's an opposition. It's a conflict with regard to your understanding something.
But what you have then is an image of freedom. You have an image of from the past of what you believe freedom to be, so you want to be like someone, or because you see that he's free according to your capacity.
There's a motive implies becoming something as well.
Of course, motive, time, becoming, conflict. From here to there, all the gradually and so on, effort, conflict, and all that's implied. I am not this, but I should be that. That being either pleasurable or this is painful. Motive is implied pleasure and pain, profit and loss, right? Am I trying to be free in order to be more happy, more whatever it is, free from pain?
Maybe we should talk about what freedom is. I'm in prison. How can I talk about freedom?
Therefore, all that I know is only prison, right? Can I look at prison without a motive?
But if motive and prison are the same in this context.
Can I look at the prison without a motive? If I have no motive, will the prison be still freedom? You follow what I mean? Am I looking at prison in order to be free of the prison?
Now we're looking at the prison of freedom.
It's inquisitiveness to look at the prison, isn't it? Are we being inquisitive?
So I love you. If I love you, if I have a motive, is that love?
No.
I pursue that to the very end. If it is not love, when there is a motive, then freedom is obviously no motive.
If the wall's in front of me and I see the wall, I don't need a motive to see the wall.
Yes, sir, to see you don't have to have a motive. That's all.
If you love someone with a motive, then you have an ulterior reason. You want something back, then you want some gratification. If you want to become something through loving someone, then you're not loving them really for what they are. You're loving them for something of yourself.
Oh, for yourself, right. So
loving with any motivation isn't love.
Therefore, freedom with any motive is not freedom. Right?
Right.
So, I've learned something.
Because love is a rather special state.
I purposely use that word.
Well, I wonder if it is in this sense, because if one is not in freedom, one is in effect in some kind of prison. Now, any movement from that prison,
I don't
seems to
know.
be motivated.
No, any movement of a mind that is conditioned, follow this. Any movement of a mind that will only move in a prison.
Yes.
No, he said something else. Look, I am conditioned, I am in a prison, right? And I'm pretending to myself, in this prison there is freedom. I invent heaven and hell in this prison, right? Right? So any movement on my part to be outside the prison or to do something about the prison is still another form of prison, right? I see that very clearly. There is no motive. I see that. That's the truth.
So we can't try and escape from the prison or get away from it.
I'm not saying we should escape. That is the fact. I see that I'm in prison, in a trap, and any movement out of the trap is to create another trap, obviously. Communists have done that, revolution, and they've come back to the same pattern of armies, whole horrors of it. So what I've learned this, that any motive to escape from the prison or to overcome the prison is still to be in the prison, right? Do we agree to this? Do we see this?
It seems to me that in order to see the prison, you've got to see it without motivation. In order to see it without motivation, you have to get outside.
I know. You see, am I to get outside of myself to look in the prison I am?
Because if you're in the prison,
Sir, go into it. Sir, don't verbally get stuck by your own words. Yes, sir?
The point to investigate here at this point, seems to me, is fix one's attention on his motives now. One has to know his motives at all times until finally they disappear.
But then that's a conclusion until finally they disappear.
What are we discussing, may I ask?
All driven by motives.
Can one choose to get out of the prison? I mean, can we talk about this matter of choice? Isn't this part of the prison?
Go on, sir, find out.
It's like he was talking about a list of priorities, and this.
Look, sir, it's so simple, isn't it, really? Look at it, sir. I am envious. Is envy different from me?
No.
Right? Envy is not over there and I'm over here. The thing, envy is me. I am not different from envy, right? Right? Are you very clear about that? So, whatever I do is still envy. No?
So you're trying not to be envious is
It's still envy.
So we can never try not to be anything.
No, just see, sir, the equation. Envy is not separate from me. I am the very quality of me is envy, right? I am envy. The observer is the observed. So I am envy. So when I say I must be free of envy, it's still envy acting. right? Or when I accept envy, it's still envy acting, right? So whatever I do about envy is still envy, right? So is there an action which is completely negation, which is merely to look without action? You follow what I'm talking?
Wouldn't there be envy looking too?
Do find out, sir. You understand what I've said? Envy is not different from me. I am envy. Thought is envy. I am thought. When thought says, I must be beyond envy, it's still envy. Right? That's very obvious. No? And yet, well, I won't go into that.
This is one reason where the complication is coming in, the minute we say must. Like I must look rather than...
No, sir, leave all that. Just take this one thing, look at it. You will learn an awful lot about it if you just look at it. That is, the me who says, I'm envious, the observer says, I'm envious. And the envy to him is something different from himself. But the observer is envy. Right? That is a fact. You can't budge from it. Right? So whatever the observer does is still a movement of envy. Right? Now, so what happens when the observer says, by Jove, I am envious? The very quality of me is envy. Therefore, I can't do anything about envy. Right? Right? Follow it slowly, follow it, sir. I can't do anything about envy. Therefore, he becomes completely inactive, doesn't it? And I don't know, right? Huh?
When you see envy as part of yourself, you stop trying to do something about it.
Then what takes place in the mind when you stop doing something about envy?
Becomes more quiet.
Becomes very quiet.
You go into it, sir. Go watch it. When you are no longer doing something about it, resisting it or not resisting it, right? Is there envy?
No, I guess at that point there is real freedom.
Go into it, sir. So you...
It's empty at that point.
No, at that point, as he said, you look at the envy with silence. Therefore, it's no longer envy. It's only the silent mind can be free. We went into that, right? And to come upon that freedom, there is no motive. That's what we are discussing for the moment. When he said to go to the moon, I must have a motive. There, to be free, I must have a motive. And we said the very act of a motive is to imprison action. That's simple. Huh? If I love you because you're going to feed me, it's not love. In the same, if I have a motive, to be free, it's not freedom.
Well, when the mind is free, then what will direct it?
Oh, find out. What? What will the mind which is free? So how do you come to that freedom? Through intelligence, don't you? There must be intelligence, otherwise you are not free. And you can be only intelligent, there can only be intelligent through learning, right? And learning is without a motive. And so what happens? Intelligence will direct how to live, not motive.
But can intelligence tell me which girl to marry? Or
It will. Now wait, sir. All right, go into it. What do you mean, which girl to marry? Does intelligence sounds
That
absurd.
implies motive, doesn't it?
Go
the
into
whole idea of who should I marry is what can I get out of it?
Yeah.
Well, she'll give me a good
Sex.
home, good sex, good meals, good kids, good
Oh,
income,
so what is
good dowry. It's a whole list of motives.
If you don't love her, you shouldn't marry her.
Just it.
So does intelligence eliminate choice?
Huh?
Does real intelligence eliminate the matter of choice?
You see, you don't have intelligence and then you're asking the question. We are saying, come to that intelligence, you'll answer that question. Intelligence must eliminate choice. So let's go back. So
Can we go back to that point of envy?
Yeah, envy.
That I see very well. Getting to the point of looking at envy and how it acts completely. And in this process of seeing it, the mind becomes very still. But instantly then, to me, my mind says, well, I must do something about it. It's like this stillness is a state of
fear.
Right, a fear, like what's happening.
What's happening.
But as soon as I see this envy started out to me to be bad. It had some kind of I don't like it. Okay. Even in this process of seeing it still, immediately flat comes up another thought bubble that says, all right, now you see it, do something about it. Or it's still bad. I don't know what, that's the dilemma.
Yes, I understand. So what are we talking now? What are we talking about? We began asking ourselves, what is discipline, right? A mind that's envious, we'll see. Can it be, an envious mind is a disordered mind, right? Just see the facts and not what to do.
What do you mean by disordered?
Disordered?
Yes.
Isn't it fairly clear?
Confused?
Confused. I must not be envious. Oh, the competition, acquisition, the, envy, everything is involved in that. Right? How can such a mind be orderly? Right? So, we said discipline is necessary. Not the old kind of discipline which is drill, suppression, imitation. And also we said a mind that is highly disciplined is a sensitive mind. It is the sensitivity that makes the mind disciplined. Not a disciplined mind that is sensitive. I wonder if I'm... Because the mind is sensitive, it has to be disciplined. Right? That is to be sensitive, to be aware of my environment in which I am living. Its influence on me, on the mind, and the reaction of the mind on the environment, the interrelationship of reaction, to be sensitive to that, which is to be aware of it. Without a motive, just to be aware of this fact. Right? And to be sensitive to the things that are happening to me inwardly. Anger, jealousy, anxiety, fear, hope, despair, search for fame, notoriety, position. That's all that's going on in me. And that is me, right? It's not something separate from me, that is me. Right? Sexual appetites, various forms, all this whole bundle of this is me. And the me says, I must do something about it. Right? And when it does, when it acts with that motive, I must do something about it, it will create another trap, right? It's so obvious, right, sir? So I am caught in its own activity. And this activity is disorder. It's not morality, it is immorality, the society in which I am living. And the society in which I am living is created by my immorality. Right? I accept greed, I accept envy, I accept competition, anger, violence, brutality. I am all that. And that is projected outside of me, which I call society. So the morality of society, which is immoral, is the product of my immorality. Obviously, it's so simple. So I say to myself, that's me. Any action I do is still part of the me, right? When I go beyond it, try to suppress it, try to escape from it, take drugs, go to football, go to church, go to, all this read, escape, meditate, is still me. Right? So what am I to do? Can the mind realize that it is, whatever it does is still a monkey trick? And so, be quiet. Because whatever I do, I create another trap. Therefore, I'm fed up creating traps, so I'll be quiet. Not lazy, dull, stupid, but such a mind can only be quiet after examining the whole thing, learning about the whole thing, right? And also to learn about it must be quiet. You follow this? So, all right, sir. So I found this, that to observe this whole trap, the structure of this trap and the nature of the trap, I must look. To look, there must be freedom. Not with an just to look at a tree, there must be free to look, right? Without the screen, without the word, without the knowledge, to look. So, to look at it attentively is to meditate, right? Right. You try, sir. Look at those hills and those trees quietly. See what happens. Without any more, just casually do it. Can the mind look at itself quietly?